Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Testing. 1, 2. Okay, I don't like having this over there. This is what I like. 'Cause then I can be looking, saying, hey, there I am. There's my note. I can. Oh, yeah, I'm live. Just working out some of the where I have things on the screen. Just squaring away a few things here before we start. Starting a little bit late. Got caught up in the watching some of March Madness, so well, it is it's 8:40 here in Omaha, Nebraska. So start. I think we'll start. Start right now. Get started right now. Well, maybe a couple minutes. Or right about. We'll be getting started here really soon. We'll do it that way. Sure. It's like, I was like, where? Okay, I think we're gonna get started. Let's actually get started now. Uh, so, welcome again to another episode, another show of Pete's Tech Den. This is show number 41. Here we talk about ways in which we can take, old tech and reuse it in new ways. A lot of times computers and stuff like that, or just in general how we can do cool stuff with technology without breaking the bank. And then occasionally we'll dive into some of the moral issues and other issues that surround technology, and get some pretty interesting discussions around those. Um, Tonight, though, uh, kind of want to discuss something that's been a lot of things. It's something that's been going on with for me, and something that um, something that I've had to deal with of recently, and that is um, Wi-Fi issues, and in a lot of ways, internet issues and stuff, and it's something I've been struggling. That just hit me. Sorry, I just realized I didn't have that up on the main shot. Okay, let's start this. Let's start this night over, because we can do that. So, welcome again to another another week of Pete's Tech Den. This is show number 41, as recorded on uh, March 25th, 2016. Uh, this is a podcast where we talk about cool ways in which we can reuse old technology and do new and cool things with it. And then just in general, how we can do cool things in technology without having to break the bank, um, or even spend a whole lot of money. And then occasionally we'll dive into some of the other issues that surround technology, sometimes the moral issues, and sometimes some other things that kind of go around it with it. And tonight I wanted to talk about something that's is something with technology that I've had to be dealing a lot with lately, um, and that is Wi-Fi and internet and that kind of stuff. As I've as I think I've mentioned this a little bit on some of the previous weeks. My Mac has been having Wi-Fi issues, and so I've been messing around with things, trying to get compile information about what's actually going on, to take with me when I go to the Apple stores to help them, or even help me kind of try to trace down what exactly the problem is. Because that's the fun thing with an internet connection, and I mean very much even more so when you're dealing with Wi-Fi, is that um, there are so many factors in how good a connection you have, how good your speeds are, how consistent your speeds are, and things like that. Um, and when you have all of those, you have a bunch of factors that play into it. It makes it a little bit more complicated to track down exactly what the problem is. Um, and for me with my Mac, it was, um, it's kind of this I mean, sometimes it's been, things where it's like it's just failing to authenticate on the Wi-Fi. Um, Other times it's been times where it's dropping pings and stuff like, where it's dropping packets, like crazy. Um, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All the fun things about Wi-Fi. Just you know, it's great when it works. But there's so many things. You know, when you start thinking about signal strength, it's like, well, is it, um, are you too far away from your router? Are there too many walls in it between you and the router? Well, maybe your router's on the wrong, you know, you have your Wi-Fi set up on the wrong channel, so that there's too much interference. There's interference from things. Um, Maybe your your router is going bad, or you know, maybe it's just that your uh, you know, maybe your Ethernet cable is going bad, or I don't know. I mean, there can be so many of these issues. Now, for me, I was able to pretty quickly narrow it down to the fact that it was a device problem in general, because well, A, it was only happening on my Mac, and B, it had happened other places. Um, so that's one thing. One thing, if you're trying to track down a problem with a device, seeing if it happens elsewhere, or whether, is it just happening in one place, that can help. But I wanted to kind of touch on some of the like apps and programs and stuff that I'd been kind of come across. I've been uh you know going through this, and and actually in the process of looking through things, I actually changed for one of my apps. Because I mean, one app that I like that's on my iPad. Let me just pull up, see if I can get some. It's kind of nice when you're dealing with. Just pull this out here. Yeah, it's this app called Thing. Kind of a weird name. But it's nice. For one, on your home network, it allows you to quickly see all of what devices on your network, that kind of stuff. And I think let me just double check that. I think it may just be what's connected to your Wi-Fi, but let me see. No, it'll see everything on the network. And so it's kind of a really easy, nice way to see what exactly is on your network. And then it's got some other things that work kind of nice. And I actually, when I was pulling up the webpage for this, I found that it actually is also on Android, so you could use it on either of those. But some of the other nice things that it lets you do is is when you click on like on a specific device, it allows you to um, either scan for services, which is kind of nice to be able to see what ports are open and that kind of stuff, and um, but it also allows you to ping the device. So it was kind of nice to be able to um, you know, both be able to use my for my iPad, be able to ping my computer, and then also be able to ping the router and things like that. Just trying to, and one of the things I did trying to narrow down that it was actually just a device problem, and it wasn't affecting more than one person and one. Um, so that's like I like being able to do that. So I mean, it's a fairly simple. I mean, simple app allows you to see those kinds of things. Um, so I mean, it's not like anything super complicated or anything. Um, but it's nice to be able to do, especially when your computer, your laptop's having a problem, to be able to sit there, okay, grab my iPad and do some of these things. It's just a nice little app I would figure I'd throw out there. Another one is obviously, you know, something that can be very helpful, to some extent, um, is the fact that you can get a speed test app on. They have a speed test app for the iPad, which is nice some, but especially if you're trying to track down like a problem on Wi-Fi, it's not something that can be totally definitive because you know you don't know like you can be pretty confident in how the route and everything that's going to affect a packet until it hits the moat. once it gets out into the World Wide Web, like you can never tell. Like it could, you know, you can run, the ping and goes one route one time, a different route another time, and so it's not something you can. I mean, 'cause there's a lot of other factors that could affect it, so it's not something that's going to be. It's one of those things where it's like, well, it can be helpful, in maybe backing up other facts, but not that's the main thing that you want to rest on. For me, I had this one weird time where it was like, my iPad's upload speeds were, 10 times what my Mac's was, and so it was kind of like one of those, like, it was just another like odd thing that was showing up. But that was the big thing was for me was just using the Fing app to be able to run those ping tests, which is always nice to be able to do, because that's one way to one way to be able to test your internet connection is just running a ping test where you drop down, and you go down to the terminal on the computer, and you just type in ping, and I think it's on Mac and Linux. It'll, if you just say like, because you can put in like an IP address like So, put in the IP address of your router, and then you can just ping it a bunch of times. Or, ping like google.com, which that's a really good one because they're set up to handle that, a bunch of requests like that. Some other places may cut it off after so many times. Found that out at the Apple Store. But so google.com is a great place to ping. And sometimes it's great because, sometimes it can be you can have a problem, and it can be like with, your DNS, wherever your DNS is, whether that be local or, like for me, I use OpenDNS, or whether you use Google's DNS. I was actually just recently, I heard somebody else that had a problem with Google DNS, and they switched over to OpenDNS, and everything was fine after that. So sometimes it can be things like that. So sometimes it can be nice to maybe ping your router, and then also ping like google.com, because then you're on google.com. It's having to resolve the domain name, and so it's a nice way to double check both of those things. Plus that allows you to check, maybe it's something wrong. Maybe your router's blocking it. Who knows? So maybe you're fine on the inside, but nothing's getting out, or maybe that means that your internet connection is down. I mean, there can be all kinds of things to check and figure out. That's just one nifty app, and then I also found this one on my phone, which is kind of another one of these it's a Wi-Fi analyzing app. But it's kind of nice because earlier I mentioned, maybe you've got a bad channel on your wireless, because when you set up your wireless, a lot of times I think the default is set up to where it'll just be an auto, and so it may change it, what channel it's on based on what's around, and so it's going to be through doing some testing. So a lot of times that's okay. But this is just one. It's actually a kind of nice one because it's open source. But it's called Wi-Fi Analyzer. I'll just pop over to that. Yeah, here it is. But you can see here, it just kind of, lists access points and stuff. And like the top one is like the one you're connected to, kind of a thing. So it'd also be nice to make sure that you're actually connected to the closest access point. Sometimes that if especially for me, when I was at school and stuff, if it's not if they don't have roaming set up, or if it's not properly switching between access points, you may there might sometimes where you can end up connected, you connect to one and then you walk to somewhere else, and you're still just within range of that one, and so you're still connected to it, and so you're gonna see signal kind of going in and out, and or maybe just slow speeds, and just by disconnecting and then reconnecting to the closest one solves the problem. But yeah, they also show you can look at which channels are rated the best. and they got a nice little like channel graph here. It's just different ways of visualizing that same kind of information. I found it kind of interesting, like, I don't know, just looking at this app, like when you look at the access points, like you can see here, like you can see like in their little image here, like the make, like the brand of the access of, whatever's broadcasting, and then some of like the security protocols that they're using to secure the Wi-Fi, which I just kind of found kind of interesting. Another one that I'd use some, and this one was kind of nice, just like not only for Wi-Fi, but also for like cell signal and stuff. Let me. I forgot to pull this page up, but I can pull it up here in just a minute. Oops. But it's called Open Signal. But it allows you can look at like very good. But it allows you can basically test your Wi-Fi to see how good it is, and then you can also let's transfer back over to here. But yeah, you can test. It tells you like how good your data is, and then you can. This is kind of nice. Just kind of it allows you to both see like your upload speed, download speeds, latency, but then it also gives it like a 5-star ratings on how good is your signal going to be on just browsing the web, or doing video, or if you're going to do like a VoIP call. So it can be kind of nice, and it'll test. You can test both whether you're on like a cellular data, or whether you're on Wi-Fi. And so that's another one that can be kind of helpful. And so, I mean, those are some of the different apps and stuff that I've been using on helping to look at my wireless and that kind of stuff. Just some other things I kind of wanted to. Other thing that I come across is like on Macs, when you click on the wireless, if you hold down the option key, it'll actually give you like a bunch of information about like your wireless connection, both like kind of they'll give you like a theoretical speed, which theoretically the maximum speed could be would be this, and they'll give you things like numbers on how strong the wireless signal is, how much like interference are you getting, those kind of things, which can be nice. The other thing that I was able to use, kind of in trying to diagnose this problem, that was kind of nice, um, was actually on my PFSense, because you could do some cool things like on one being able to ping from the PFSense to an IP address, which was kind of nice because then I could ping my Mac from the router, which is kind of the nice thing about having. Oh, I did, um, about having a PFSense router, because it's a little bit more powerful than your standard router, which doesn't have some of these functionalities. And the other thing I was able to be able to do was I was able to set up, and be able to do some, because you can set up and do some pack capture, capturing packets that are coming into the router, and you can set it up like on. I can jump back over here. You can set up like a package capture in the diagnostics. You can say, what interface. For me, I was doing it on the LAN, and then like whether you want to do on IP4 or IP62 or and then like what protocols and those kind of things, and you can kind of set up, and you can either set it up to do like a certain number of packets that you want to grab, or you just do 0 to do no limit, and just basically, so like you did like no limit, then you can, whether you want to do where it's going to try to look up, like if there's an IP address that it's seeing in there, do you want it to try to look it up and see what's the actual like what's the URL, the domain name for it. So like if I did that, and then you can start the package capture. Now it's running. And you can stop it, and now it's gonna show it down there, which I'm not gonna. And you can see like all the. And so I actually did one of these trying to like see if they could figure out what was actually going off my Mac. Unfortunately, they still haven't figured out that. But it's one of those things where, like, if you have like a PFSense, or I think you could do this on, you may be able to do it on like a Sophos or something like that. But if you have something that's a little bit more powerful than your standard router, at least on the software side of it, like that's something else that you can do to kind of like to help try to figure out like diagnostic issues. Because I mean, truth be told, like tracing down internet problems is really one of the harder things to do. I mean, it's just like, because there's so many different pieces along the route that could be causing the problem. It's like, yeah, yeah, if you're talking about Wi-Fi, I mean, there can be anything from, it could be, could be a problem with the way the computer interface, the connections, the hardware connections to the wireless card. It could be software problems. Then there could be any possible thing that could interfere with a wireless signal. I mean, and there's a ton of stuff out there. I mean, there's stuff generating interference, from like, wireless mouse, wireless keyboard. I believe it, microwaves. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can cause interference. well, if you get to the router, well, it could be something with the router, either, hardware or software. It could be blocking something. It could be a problem with, an Ethernet cable. I mean, it could be a problem. You could be having a problem with the modem. Then you get outside of the modem, and then there's, any kind of network issue outside of the modem. So, if you're getting the picture by now, networking, the internet, is very complicated. Those are just a few of the problems that you could have. But the nice thing is that, like, there are ways to narrow down the problems. Um, for me, I kind of went through some of the things where, well, one, it was only happening that one device, so I was almost positive that it was, a device problem. But I went through different things where, taking it to other places and trying it there. Um, Maybe not only, trying, try several different websites, making sure that it's not just, maybe it's the website that's having a problem. Um, here I tried, I tried different security protocols, both, WPA2 personal, or just a password, to trying, my normal was, WPA2 Enterprise. I tried, like, connecting it to a different router just to see if that would fix the problem. Because I happen to have one of those laying around. um, but yeah, it's like, wireless it's nice when it works. But if there's one thing that's come out of this, I've realized how nice it is to have an Ethernet connection. Because there's still things that can go wrong and everything, but there's a lot less problems that you can encounter when you go to a hardwired connection. It's really nice. And it's really nice to have that option. Um, which is why it's really unfortunate that, that Apple's decided to, do away with those on their laptops. But that's for another story. So yeah, and the thing is, like, these tools and apps and stuff that I talked about, today, like, there's a bunch of other ones out there that, um, will um, do what you need to do. These are just the ones that I've used, and I've found helpful. But so that's what I found helpful. If you guys have, like, an app or something like that, or maybe a program, I know some programs I'm looking at right now are things like, get a little bit more technical. Things like TCP dump and, what was the other one? I forgot what the other name of the other one was. But that's basically just another, like, it's a program to do package capturing and stuff like that. So I'm hoping maybe to find something. But yeah, so if you have like an app or something or a program or something that you've used and found helpful in tracing down network issues, shoot me an email, or I don't know, post a comment on the YouTube video. Let me know. If you want to send me an email, I should say these things. Still learning. You can send me an email at pdennert@lifepadnetwork.com. And as always, I mean, if you guys have any kind of, I don't know, cool project that you're able to find a way to reuse maybe some old technology, or maybe found a creative way to do something like on cheaper with some new technology and stuff like that. Or if you have a project that you want to, you want some help, or or maybe some ideas on how to do it without breaking the bank, you can always send me an email. That same email at pdennert@lifepadnetwork.com. So that is our wrap things up there. So go out and do cool things with technology, and don't break the bank. And we'll see you here again next week. We're out here every Friday at, or at least we try to be, at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Good night.